Welcome, everyone, to the 13th sleep session. This one's titled Leadership Journey, Becoming an Essential Leader with Charles Smitherman. Jeff Smith, the president of the New York Rental Dealers and owner of Your Hometown Rent to Own Inc., be your moderator for this. Without any further ado, I guess we'll take some questions at the end. Benji's going to have some links for you, so keep an eye out for those in the chat. So without further ado, here's Charles.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. As Jeff mentioned, this is the leadership journey from useful to essential. Hopefully, we'll provide you some really good things today. Go ahead and pull up that chat. We're going to be using it. There will be some times for reflection. I'll be asking you to put some comments and notes in as well. I think you'll get a lot more out of it if you are participating that way. So it's designed for you to do that. Questions along the way, put them in. I'll try to do them as we go along. And if we have time at the end, we'll have some Q&A as well. So from useful to essential, let's get this going. So the title of this could have just as easily have been what got you here won't get you there and may not be enough to keep you here. This is really I think the essence of the leadership journey. And this is something that we're all on, myself included, of you kind of get here. You get here because you're good at something. And I know all of you are. You're exceptional at something. You're exceptional at operations. You're exceptional at sales. You're exceptional at customer service. Something got you here, whether that in technical in nature, whatever. But most of us didn't study leadership. It's not really courses on this. You really kind of learn this from experience. You learn this from trial and error. And you really learn this from watching leaders that you interact with, people in your company, people you've met along the way. So let's get started on talking about the journey. Now, just key deliverables. Here's what I'm hoping you're going to go away with. First, a framework to understand where you are as a leader and really where you want to go. Also, a clear map of what it takes to move from one stage to the next. And I'm going to give you three practices. I got misspelling on there. You can start Monday morning or right now this afternoon. And I'll tell you, you've made the first leap into this journey. I wish I had my sound laugh track. That was supposed to be funny. And getting started with this. As Jeff mentioned, this is the 13th Leadership Leap session. This program, it really is a masterclass from some of really the best of the best. I got called up out of the bullpen on this one, so I'm just as much of a student on this. I watch these every week, and you've got just some great people, some great content, people like Mike Tissett, like Dan Fisher, that have really are sharing their knowledge, sharing their experience, and really are there to help you along the way. So keep taking advantage of these. We've got one coming up every month for the rest of the year. Live sessions at RTO World and Meeting the Minds coming up here in a few weeks. So let's go ahead and start. I want to ask one question. Think about a leader. Think about someone that you have interacted with along the way. Maybe someone you currently work for, maybe a coach, maybe a teacher, maybe a family member. And think of the first word that comes to mind to describe them. And if you will, just go ahead and throw those in the chat real quick. We're going to pause here for a second while you do that. There you go. Passionate. That's a really strong one. Knowledgeable. And I know Jen's talking about me. Thank you, Jen. Listener. Genuine. Empathy. Teacher. Efficient. Oh, there you go. Discerning. Wow, that's a nice one. So look at these, and you're seeing more of them are coming in. Understanding. These are characteristics. They're not qualities. You see, no one's in here really putting smart, effective, really good at their job. They're the best of the best salesman, best operator, best whatever it may be from a functional perspective. These are descriptions of capacities of how that they interact. And really more importantly, I think if you look at a lot of these, it's that interaction between them and between you This is what you got away. This person taught me. This person was empathetic. This person was understanding. And I think that's really kind of a key characteristic of leadership um, that we're going to look at today. One of my favorite leaders, and just the fictional leader, but I think this actual show is nothing short but a masterclass on leadership. It's Ted Lasso. If you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing. Well, after the webinar, then stop what you're doing. Go watch it. It's three or four seasons. There's a new one coming out. This is just an incredible presentation about what it is to be a leader and really the type of leader that I'm going to be talking about today and what really fits into this framework. If you don't know anything about the show, basically the concept is Ted Lasso was a Division II championship football coach from Missouri. He was called up to be a Premier League soccer coach in England. He moved over, and this is really his story of how that went. And I could tell you at the beginning, the first season, the first several episodes, it was going very poorly. It was very difficult. But the show kind of catches on his players, his coworkers, the people he interacts with really start to warm up to him. And it is never about because Ted Lasso knew anything about soccer. He didn't. He never really even picked it up by the end of it. But what he did know was people. He did know how to interact with people. He did know a lot of these things that really that you've described here in the chat about being empathetic, being genuine, discerning, really caring about people. And then really in the first episode, there was this memorable scene where he goes in and he takes this yellow sign, and it looks like it was kind of basically drawn by, I think it might have been drawn by his grade school son. He goes in, he tapes it up on the wall with this black electric tape, and then he goes in and he basically points to it. And I know that my reaction to it was like, oh God, here we go. This is just one of these hokey, inspirational things. But this sign becomes a real pivotal thing in the whole series, and we'll kind of come back to it. But I would encourage you to go and look at it. I want to say this. I kind of felt a little bit reluctant to even do this session today because leadership is a journey. I felt a little bit out of place and maybe a little bit. I'm certainly not the one that should be lecturing and telling you about leadership, and that's not what I'm going to do. What I'm here to do is talk about things that I've observed, things I'm trying to learn from, things I'm trying to do better every day for my team, for the industry, for our stakeholders, for our board, for everyone out there. And I can tell you there are three things about leadership that are I think are true for this. It's a journey. You're never going to finish it. I don't care how good you get. There's always something more. You look at people like the best of the best that you would point to, like a Simon Sinek or a John Maxwell or someone. They're still doing the work. They're still learning. They're still trying to find different ways of communicating this journey. I'll say this also, going back to the title or the second title slide, what got you here won't get you there. This is really a framework and really a three-level framework. It's pretty basic, but what got you to level one is not going to get you to level two, and what got you to level two is not going to get to level three. And that reason being, you're going to have to choose to grow intentionally. You're going to have to choose to grow by not doing the same things that got you here to get to that next stage, that next level, that next waypoint upon the journey. So for every journey, for every endeavor you're going to go on, there are a couple of tools that you need. And I can tell you this is one that my team and I have particularly been working on recently. And it's utilizing what's called the platinum rule. You may have heard of it. You've certainly all heard about the golden rule. The golden rule is good. But it has a few shortcomings that the platinum rule will do more. The golden rule asks you to treat others as you want to be treated. And so what that does is it basically, well, I like this. I want to be be asked to do something and react immediately. So therefore, my team is going to want to do that. Therefore, the people around me are going to want to do that. And that's the limitation. The platinum rule says treat others as they want to be treated. So it's a little bit more than knowing yourself and knowing what you prefer and passing that along to how you interact with other people. It requires you really to know who you're dealing with, to know your coworkers, to know your employees, to know your stakeholders, and recognize that everyone has individual differences. We spend a lot of time. I know we've done this a few times at APRO. I know a lot of your companies do this as well, where you do these personality profiles, and you find out, oh, okay, well, this person is a DISC level 4, and this one's a 5, and this one's an INTF, and this one's an INTJ, and this one's an ESPI, or whatever it may be. You find out all these things, and there are just so many different ones. And that's where the platinum rule really can be operationalized. It's okay recognizing that the people on your team are different. They've got different needs. They have different ways of communicating. They hear things differently when you could say the exact same thing to one person over here and another over there. And so this tool of really being active, being curious about your people, being curious about the work, and you'll start seeing people just differently where you can interact with them. And I think in terms of moving along this journey, this is like having hiking poles or some rope or a good pair of boots to get along the way. If you've got this, then that's a good way to maneuver through along the journey. Along with that, and this was originally, I thought this was going to be an ethical leadership presentation. It kind of morphed into something else. So I thought I'd throw this in. Ethics matter. And I'll tell you, just from a starting point and a basic point, no one wants to follow an unethical leader. As a leader, you're setting an example, and having an ethical framework, whether it's the platinum rule, whether it's your moral code, your upbringing, whatever you subscribe to. We provide the APRO Code of Ethics, which gives a good list of just running a rent-to-own company, dealing with customers, all those things that go into it. But when you've got ethics, you've got these codes of conduct, these things, this allows you to move a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently, because you don't have to go back and revisit every decision, every scenario from, okay, well, this is a first impression. What do I do? If you've got an ethical code, you've got something like the Platinum Rule, you've got the APRO Code of Conduct. It provides a waypoint. It provides that compass. And more importantly, we'll touch on this in a bit, it provides consistency, which I think is really an essential characteristic of any leader, of being able to have consistent decisions, consistent outcomes at any given time. So let's jump into the framework. And I call this the 3 stages. This is inverted, so you got useful will be level 1, important is going to be level 2 or stage 2, and 3 is going to be essential. This is just a device I can kind of see it along the way. Useful, you're kind of down low on the pathway. You're getting started. You're moving away up through. Typically, you're kind of down in the trees. It's very functional. You're keeping things running. Important, you're really building on that capacity of not only being useful at your job, but you're building capacity in other people. Your outlook is much more not only you making sure the trains are running on time, but also making sure your team members have what they need in order to be growing and developing along this path as well. And then you get to the high level, level 3 or stage 3, the essential. And this is really the legacy defining. These are the people that create meaning. These are the people that you will remember and maybe you were thinking of whenever we asked that question at the beginning of the presentation. These are the people that impact you. These are the people that stick with you along the way. So let's go in and kind of look at these different levels. First of all, the useful leader. And I thought the Swiss Army knife was a pretty good example of this. Useful leaders do these things. They manage tasks and schedules. They solve problems. They keep the operations running. They focus on efficiency and output, and they ensure the work gets completed. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you're in any type of leadership position, you probably got it because you were good at doing something. Applies kind of across the board. I think in any business, any organization, you're good at something, therefore you must be good at leading. And it's kind of this assumption that, well, you're good at sales, you're good at customer service, therefore we're going to give you 10 people to manage, and you've got to do all these other things. And that's a leap. And it's not that it's not doable, but it does take a different mindset and a different skill set to what got you to this level one may not be enough to get you and make you effective one at level two. So let's do a or recognition reality check here. Just in the chat, think about this, or actually, no, don't worry about me putting this in the chat. How many people, and just think about this and reflect on it, I'll give you a minute. How many people on your team do you think you could call right now and genuinely ask, are you okay? That's it. Are you okay? The emphasis being on you, not where are you? Why are you late? Why, why are you not being effective at work? Just a genuine caring concern of, are you okay? And I think this is an important question, of are you okay? Because that does, if you can answer that and you think, well, maybe that's not really me, or maybe that's not something I would do, or I haven't thought about that. This is where the kind of being at this stage where you may be. And it may be difficult of things that you need to be thinking about to move up to the next one, because that connecting on that individual level, being caring for your people and their journey, their growth, that's going to be an important part of the next step. And here's just kind of a follow-up question, the same vein of that. What's one thing you learned about someone at work with, that's someone that you work with this week? I mean, just one thing, you know, a name, something going on in their life, uh, an event, any of these things. Just think about this. Don't worry about putting this one in the chat either. Just contemplate on it, because I think this is another question that says, okay, are you connecting with your people and your team on more than just a utility, making sure the doors are open and you're staffed and you've got inventory and the trucks are coming in and going out on time. It's a connection point that I think is important on that. And so that's kind of why I bring these up. Like, look, if you're in a role of management, you've got there for a reason. You were good at doing something. Now you've got more responsibilities, and to move through the stages of leadership along this journey, to get to stage two, the mindset really is from solving problems yourself to teaching other people to solve problems, from knowing all the answers, to being curious, to asking the right questions from your team. It's from executing tasks, from doing those normal day-to-day things, to really building systems that allow your people to be their best and to grow as well. And that same idea of it's not just managing work, you're managing people, and people are different. People require different things. They hear different things. They have different things going on in their life. They've got different goals. And that's this is a big part of the moving up to the next step. And Sean posted, develop your people to become developers. And that's it. Think about, like, I'm trying to think of, I was watching the Super Bowl the other night. The running joke seems to be that Bad Bunny had more yards than the Patriots did all night. But from that standpoint, who was probably the most important player on the team for the Patriots, at least from a statistics standpoint? It was the punter, because he got to punt so many times. He had great stats. Did it help them win the game? No. Is being like, it's one of those kind of, I think, a running joke, like when the Vanderbilt comes to mind, like the punter for Vanderbilt's always going to be the guy that leads NCAA or Division I in punting yards. not really something you want to aspire to because that means your team's probably not winning if you're punting the ball so much. And so, really, stage one, you're a great punter. Stage two is really helping the people around you, so maybe you don't have to go on the field and punt so much. Um, so maybe that lands. So let's look at this. Stage two, the important leader. What important leaders do, and as I said, this is really shifting the framework from you, from the individual, to building capacity in other people. You're developing systems, you're developing people systematically. You're creating systems that outlast you. So if you're not there, you're not available to answer a question, to make a decision. You've got those systems in place that you've developed and help your team develop as well that can take care of it where you don't have to be as involved on every detail as you do really in level one. A big part of this is explaining the why behind decisions. I've found this, and I know this is something I can honestly say that I struggle with uh, all the time. Anybody on my team is laughing right now because they're hearing this because um, I can tell you, I go fast. I'm like a Ricky Bobby. I want to go fast. I'm moving. And there's always this assumption of, okay, well, everybody knows, everybody understands the why without me having to explain it. And it really does take one, knowing your people, knowing the people on your team, of what they need to hear, how they react to maybe a new initiative, a new idea, a change. And really being there to explain it. It takes real intentionality. It takes really being conscious of this, and that's I think a really important part of being an important leader and being an important person for your team. Really, it's about seeing rights and potential in other people. Um, I think the best leaders are the ones that are developing the people behind them. That the people that you're interacting with, really in the same way that you're wherever you are on this, you've had someone that inspired you. You had someone that believed in you, that hired you and put this in the position, that gave you responsibility for management, and put you in a position to lead. Looking at it this way of seeing and really paying it back or paying it forward to, you've got team members that look up to you in the same way, both good and bad. They see you, they see what you do, they see what you don't do, and really looking at them as that, where you were and what you can do to help them along their own journey, because we all are on this journey. We're just at different points and waypoints along the way. And let me say this kind of really to emphasize, leadership isn't something you declare. It's something your people give you when you've earned it. This is, I mean, again, I've just let this kind of sink in. I can tell you, like, whenever I took on this role with APRO, I got a really cool title. It was great. It's a title. It's empty. It doesn't mean anything until you do it. Yeah, it buys you a little bit of time. You get a little bit of inspiration. Okay, we've got this title. You've got the things that go with it. But you really do have to earn that respect with your team. And I can tell you they are watching you uh, all the time to determine whether you are a leader, uh, one, that they want to follow, two, that they can trust, and three, that they can really believe in. And so your team are really asking this along the way. And I think you've got to continually to reinforce this. It's not a given. You just take care of it one day and you're done. But they're looking at you. Are you competent? Can you actually do what you're here to do in terms of your role, fulfilling your duties, fulfilling your management and your responsibilities to them and to your company? Do you mean what you say? That goes back to integrity. It goes back to the ethics we mentioned earlier. You could probably think of leaders or people that you've had, bosses, people you've reported to that, you know, uh, you didn't know where you stood with them. You didn't know if what they said was actually going to happen, if they were going to change their mind, they were going to waver, or they were just flat out being untruthful. I mean, that's integrity is very important, just as much as competence is. And really, the big question: are you worth following? That's not a given. It's not, it doesn't come with it from being manager, regional manager, district manager, vice president, whatever that title that you've got. Are you worth following? And these are really important things I think that really underline, your legitimacy with your team, whether your effectiveness in your role, and how where you are and how you can continue to go on this journey. One thing I mentioned that I should have mentioned earlier, you can't skip steps with this. You go from stage one to stage two to stage three. You can't just go from stage one to being stage three. If you don't have these things going, you're not working on them, being consistent with them. It's really going to be hard to be that inspirational, legacy defining stage three leader. So, just three questions I want you just to reflect on here. Uh, in the last month, have you admitted to your team when you didn't know something? That's a tough one because it kind of shows some vulnerability. And we've got Sean, yes. I'll put my hand up, yes. I do this uh, probably not as much as I should, but definitely. Um, so yeah, look, that shows the vulnerability. That shows that you're being conscious. You're not trying to be something you are not intended to be. And that's it, Sean. No shame in not knowing. I know where to find it exactly. I think that's the biggest skill with a lot of really where we are in society at this point. Knowing an answer is not as important to be able to find it. So good stuff coming in. Second question, have you kept a commitment when it was inconvenient or costly? Uh, Again, this one goes and shows, hey, look, um, that your word is what it is. This is legitimacy. This is reliability. If you say you're going to be there, uh, things come up, life gets in the way. But being there, being reliable, and your team knowing that you can be there. Erica's got a good comment. I teach my kids when you make a commitment, you follow through always, even when you don't want to. Yeah, I love that. I think there's a big difference between want and need. And I tell my kids the same thing. Just because if you're going to go, you're going to go to this practice, you're committed to this team, you're going to finish out this season, whatever it is. But I think that's a really important part. Again, people are watching, your team members are watching with you. Have you taken responsibility for a mistake without deflecting or making excuses? That's a tough one. Um, Again, you're showing some vulnerability. We all make mistakes, and I don't think that wherever you are on this journey, if you're making a decision, you're taking an action, you are at risk of uh, either potentially not doing the right thing, or there may not be a right answer. And I think that's a hard part that comes with leadership is oftentimes there may not be. And it's really you kind of choose a course and you take steps and uh, you work at it and you keep moving at it. And sometimes sometimes it's the wrong move. Sometimes you got to step back. And ultimately, the higher up on this, the more people you're responsible for, the more responsibilities you have as a leader, as a manager, anything in your organization. Um, that is um, it's going to happen. And your legitimacy of being able to say, my bad, everyone, I screwed up. We're or more importantly, I think, like to Erica's comment, none of us are perfect. Own your mistakes and learn from it. Don't deflect. Look, sometimes you got to pivot and being able to recognize, hey, look, we're going down this train on the wrong track, and we need to turn around and go back. That's more important than saying I'm always right. Uh, this is on me. I'm not. We're going to keep going. So, um, good comments. Thanks, everyone. I want to kind of talk about this for a second. And I think this really is an important part of the journey as well. This is a quote by the poet William Blake. The tree which moves some to tears of joy is in the eyes of others only a green thing that stands in the way. And what this really is about, it's about perspective. It's about, I'm crossing this field and I want to go in a straight line and this thing is in my way. Or is this something you see, that, uh, that impacts you, that moves you, that, is memorable? And where I see this really on this journey is there are teaching opportunities and moments everywhere. I asked you at the beginning to name some characteristics about a great leader, someone that you've encountered along the way. Let's try this now. First thing, think of the worst manager, boss, coach, teacher, family member, whoever. Name some put a characteristic about them in the chat. Just throw it in there. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about uh, that high school football coach or baseball coach? Or there you go, dishonest, selfish, domineering. That's a good one. Um, Untrustworthy. And so think about these people, but you learned something from them. They taught you something. Now, it may not be a fun lesson, it may not be something you want to go and repeat and do all over again. And hopefully you don't ever have to encounter it going forward. But there's always something to learn. I think back along kind of my journey. I've had some great ones. I've had some good ones with lots of flaws. And so, along the way of doing these leap sessions, going to the conference and listening to the speakers, to reading books. I'm going to give you some recommendations here at the end. And really just observing the people that you're around right now. Everybody has something to teach us. It may be positive. It may be this is something I want to emulate. This is something I want to put into practice. This is the way I want people to see me. It may very well be that, hey, I don't want anyone to ever characterize me as being selfish. I don't want anyone to ever say that I'm dishonest or untrustworthy or that I was domineering. Those are all those things that we can learn along the way. And I think that if there's one big point I wanted that you take away from this is being open. I'll go back to Ted Lasso. Curiosity was a major theme of that show. There was a great episode where that was the main thing about being curious. And curiosity is really openness, being there, being willing to learn, being able to see. So you can always learn from every leader. So let's look at stage three, the essential leader. And these are leaders that you probably know a few, but you probably don't know many. These are the ones that create meaning and purpose. They embody values. It's not just about here are our team values. These are the people that embody those values, that you know what your organization stands for because this person, man or woman, is the one that shows those on a daily basis. Uh, these people transform how that we see our work. That we see this as something important, that we see it as impactful. It's not just these little things. Think about like the Karate Kid reference. At the beginning, you've got Daniel just wax on, wax off, paint the fence, hammering the nails. All these things that didn't add up to anything until the point that they did. When Mr. Miyagi tells him, "Okay, well," puts him into practice as reactions to those things. Uh, that's the step of these little things that you do on a daily basis, these basic things of seeing that, hey, look, this is having a huge impact. You have helped someone today. You have, been an important part of someone's life today and what you are doing. This industry is full of that. I mean, it really is, of all the things that you do for your customers, for your communities, and providing access through this transaction. It's there. It's just being able to connect it and see it. And that's really what these type of leaders do. They shape culture and identity. And I'll tell you, I think just going back to Dan and Mike, these guys are the best at it. I mean, they really are. They embody these values. They are about culture. They're about that. And so these are the ones, this is what an essential leader looks like. And you may be sitting there on the call, okay, well, I already do this. I mean, Dan, if you're out there, Mike, if you're out there, uh, the reason these guys are on the call, or if you are at this level and you're on the call, I can tell you because you're interested in developing your stage one leaders, your stage two leaders, of what kind of questions, how you can invest in them, how that you can help them on their journey, because that's an essential part of this level three. It's really about people, but it's also about the bigger, higher purpose of everything that we do. And these are the best people to learn from because they've got it. So back to Ted Lasso. At the beginning, he struggled. People thought he was named the manager. He had a title. No one trusted him, and potentially rightfully so. He didn't know anything about soccer. He didn't know he moved to England. Didn't know anything about the culture. Didn't know anything about the people. Um, didn't know how to run a practice. Uh, didn't really understand how the games or rules worked. He struggled with it. But what he did have was a very keen interest in his people and developing them to where that they could see beyond just being a soccer player, just being having the role that they had, that there was something bigger than themselves, and that really he connected that, and that's where that belief picture really was important. It wasn't really a kind of a commandment or a statement or one of these inspirational things on the wall. It really was an ethos for everyone on that team of like believe in yourself, believe in your teammates, believe in your leaders. Um, and as the series goes on, it really is the soccer kind of becomes really secondary to it, to all the interactions of how the team kind of comes together, that they start seeing themselves differently and seeing their work. So again, um, there's this great part at the end where everyone's laughing at it at the beginning, but then everyone's touching it as this symbol of what the whole uh, the whole team was about, and this leadership that I think that Ted Lasso put into place. So I'm going to mention this one. This was another great movie that is about leadership and the leadership journey. If you haven't seen this, I'm not sure why you haven't. After you go watch Ted Lasso, go watch Maverick. If you remember Top Gun, Maverick he was a punk. I mean, I know he was the protagonist. He was still a punk, but he was very competent. He was a great flyer or pilot. Um, his first movie is called Top Gun, but if you'll remember, Iceman was the Top Gun. He was the one that won the competition, so maybe a bit of a misnomer there. But if you remember, he was skilled. He was one of the best. He made some questionable decisions. He was a bit hot-headed. It really was just about being a level one leader. You could look at him and say, "Yeah, I want to be like that guy from a technical perspective, but maybe not so much from a person or this being someone I'd want to follow or really trust." Flash forward 30 years, Maverick's grown up. He's still trying to find himself. Top Gun calls him back. They say, Maverick, we need you for this really important mission. Maverick walks in. He's like, all right, well, I haven't flown in 30 years, but I can do this. And they were like, no, 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 no. We need you to teach. We need you to pass on the skills that you know and you learn to this younger, new generation of these students. And that took him back. He was like, well, I'm not a teacher. I don't, I'm a pilot, not a leader. And this movie really is about that transformation. It's about him uh, developing into passing on his knowledge, creating this belief in his team, so to speak. And so you get to the end of it, and this is really kind of like right before they're going out for this battle. And Maverick says really the three most important words, and I think that you could take away right now and go and start using this afternoon. Um, Rooster, who's Goose's son, or Goose died in the first Top Gun. Uh, he's been one of the students. Everybody's nervous. They're getting around to go do this dangerous mission. Maverick comes up to him and he says, "Rooster, you got this." And that is three powerful words because this is coming from like the best of the best or second best behind Iceman. But Maverick's telling Rooster, hey, you got this. And that is just a powerful, like literal transformation of that belief that you have as a leader into the people that you lead to your team of saying, I've got this, or you've got this. And this is scientific. This is called the Pythagorean. My notes are gone, so I'm remembering this off of hand. Pythagorean effect. It's this idea that our beliefs about others influence our actions towards others, and our actions towards others affect and instill the beliefs that people have about themselves, which then in turn goes back on the circle that creates their actions towards us. And it's a circular thing, but it really is this power of, like in Ted Lasso, believe. He believed in his people. That it wasn't very clear when he put that sign up in the first episode. It became very clear by the time of it that he believed in them. Just like in Maverick, Maverick telling Rooster, you got this. I believe in you. And this is a scientific thing that people absorb that. And when you have that confidence and when you've kind of are an important leader, um, an essential leader anywhere on this pathway to instill that into your people, this is how teams get formed. This is how work gets done. This is how the effects and outcomes that you're trying to drive in your business and your store for your people. This is how this is done. So, um, real quick, I'm going to skip over this one. Um, let's do this. Think about this right now. What do you want your people to say about you when you are not in the room? Now, think about that. There's probably two answers to this. One is what they probably say right now. And then two, what do you want them to say when you're not in that room, whether it's lunch, morning? What do you want your people to say? There you go. I can count on her. That's fair. That's an important one. Yeah. Encouraging. Yeah. That's um honest. There you go. Yeah. Uh I trust him. There you go. Reliable. That's a great one. You can see and compare these to the ones we had before. Well, he's domineering. He's untrustworthy. He's selfish. He's dishonest. Those are things you don't want to hear. He helps me get there. That's a great one. I think that's probably the best kind of feedback. I think as you're working through this leadership journey of seeing your people become the best versions of themselves, seeing them progress on that leadership journey, because that is really, I think, the responsibility that comes with being with your title, with being leader, being responsible for people, managing people, is helping them uh, get to wherever they're going. Um, so, in thinking about that, um, if there's a gap between, and honestly thinking about it, a gap between um, what you hope people will say and what you think they're actually saying, um, this is a place for growth. And you may have aspirations. I mean, I know I do. I've got things I want to be known for. In fact, my team we're doing, and I'll recommend this book in a minute. We're about to start this book called or uh, basically four. And the idea of that is, are we known for what we want to be known for? Am I known for what I want to be known for? Are my people known for what they want to be known for? And this is part of it. There probably is a gap, and if there isn't, then try to think and aspire to something of what that would be. And then this is something that you can start working on. This provides a focus and intentionality to get there on your continued journey. So just a few tips as we're kind of getting towards the final part of this. One, the Monday morning practice. And this is a really good one from like moving on from level two of really asking questions to your team about um, how things are going for them. Just being, and that really, it's not so much the question, it's more about having an opportunity to remember, to listen, to be aware of more that's going on with them on a daily basis. And that's really to move into that second level and important where you're really focusing on on your people and on your team and their development. Getting to know them in this or being at least interested in this respect is an important part of that step. Um, Second one, the fair process commitment. Um, Before you make a difficult decision, ask yourself, can I explain this? Can I give the why? Is it consistent? Is this the same uh, decision and way I would have gone a week ago, a month ago, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now? Um, and really, would I want this? And really, kind of at least in terms of like how uh, that it's being. So that's a good assessment of fairness. This is where the ethics come back in of having those that compass and those tools in place to be fair along the way. Um, and then the dignity practice. I really like this one. Again, this takes some intentionality, some consciousness about what you're doing. Tell someone specifically, not good job, great work, something generic like that. Tell them specifically what it was. When you did this, here's the impact it had. When you took that call at 5:59 right before we called and we got that delivery of this mattress to this customer, you made an impact on someone's life. Tying into really the this idea of dignity, of the importance, the bigger picture things that what your work does, and helping your people see that. That you want to keep people with your organization, you want to keep people in this industry, showing them what that impact is just an important part. And this is something I think uh, that level three leaders do. Again, I think I've kind of touched on this a bit, but and I really, this was more of a conclusion for me when I was working through this. But you can see what these levels are useful. It's really about you. It's your skills, your execution, your performance. Can I do the work? Can I deliver the results? We all have to be useful. You can't really you don't really ever move on from this. It's just a matter of what those next steps of are. When you're moving on to important, it really does become about others. It becomes about your team. It becomes about their development, their success. Can I help others succeed? Can I build capacity? Can I inspire purpose? And then you move on to essential, and that really, like I said, this is something bigger. This is about legacy, systems, cultures. This enduring impact will outlast me. What meaning am I creating? And so, just to wrap up, your team already knows what kind of leader you are. They're watching you already. They've been watching you since you took on your position. Um, but the real question is, what kind of leader do you want to be 6 months from now? Where do you want to be on this journey? What are things that you could start doing now, things that you could start being conscious of, start putting into practice that might change that perception? Or maybe it doesn't need to be changed. Maybe you're doing the right things and you just need to solidify it. You need to stay consistent. You just need to stay reliable. You need to stay interested. You need to stay committed to your team's development, keeping your group moving along their own stages of this journey. Um, so from that standpoint, you can't skip stages. You're not going to go from one to be defining legacy, culture, et cetera. You've got to do the work. You've got to move through it, put these things into practice. But you can choose to grow, and that starts. I've got Monday morning. It starts right now. It starts with what you're doing. You're here today. Thank you. Congratulations for doing it and being committed to doing this and going along the journey. Just a couple of things real quick before we get, and I'll go ahead and start throwing in some questions into the chat if you've got any. Just a few book recommendations. I've mentioned some ideas and theories that have come out of these. At the beginning, what got you here won't get you there. This is a really good one if you're looking at moving from level one to two or three, just some practical, accessible roadmaps. Um, uh, and suggestions and ideas along it. Uh, the first 90 days, if you next time if you ever get another promotion, you move into another role, this one's great because it really does focus on these things of, okay, here's what you guys start thinking about now in this new role, in this new position. I've got a couple of Simon Sinek books in here, Leaders Eat Last and Start with Why, both just great frameworks. Sinek does just an incredible job of storytelling and showing these with other people that you've heard about, and maybe a lot that you haven't about their encounters and creating cultures, making people feel valued. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. This is a great one. If you're really looking at um, culture, meaning, impact, this is just an incredible book. Uh, and then Know What You're For. This is the one that I mentioned that we're working on or about to start working through at APRO. And it really is just about growth strategy for your work, about leadership, and being the type of leader that on that important and essential levels that people will choose to follow that they'll remember. Um, so, all right. Any questions? I know I threw a lot out there. All right. Seeing none.
What are the brackets around the? Can you go back one to your books? You have brackets around
Yeah.
one to two, two, three. What do the brackets mean?
Yeah. So these are just kind of where I kind of pegged like, okay, if you feel like you're on the essential level, um, this is one I'd recommend for you. If you're kind of at level one, these are really good ones for that. If
Okay,
you're a level three guy and you've moved past Simon Sinek and
gotcha,
Maxwell, you can't get any better than Viktor Frankl.
gotcha. Thank you.
Um, so these great books. Highly recommend all of them. So question from Sean: what piece of advice did you get early on that still resonates today? Um, I mean, for me, the just being your authentic self and true to your word. I think that's it's so basic. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. It's not a matter of like we talked about earlier. I mean, I say I'm going to do something. I may not want to do it at the time, but showing up, doing it, being consistent, and I think there's a level of authenticity that goes along with that too. Um, that's you kind of you are the sum of your actions, not your intentions. And so I'd say that uh, probably has been one of the most important things that I learned early on. I think I learned that. I know you're looking at me like, oh, that he was a great high school football player. Yeah, I was starting left out and right bench for 4 years. But that was one of those things. I hated football. I hated it. Still have recurring PTSD nightmares about football practice and being a part of it. Um, but I committed to doing it, and I think I committed to doing it. Uh, and that was one of those things that I'm glad I did it, uh, but I didn't want to do it. But there was a commitment to doing it and being a part of it and continuing on that I think was just really impactful. And that's still one of those things. It's not want. It's not really about want. It's you make a commitment, you stick with it. Um, so anything else? So I would say, one, thanks for being here. A couple of things just to leave you with. I'm going to give you, well, here, um, two QR codes for you to look at. One is the LEAP survey. This is one you need to scan this so we can make sure and give you credit for being here and participating in this today. Also, just subjects that you're interested in. This helps develop future content and where this is going. Like I said, this is the 13th one. Uh, I think there's no intention of this slowing down, and this is going to continue to be a monthly thing. And so it's just an incredible program with some great leaders sharing their stories here. So encourage you to continue to participate. And with that, one thing I'm excited to talk about is the LEAP community. You've got in the chat, there's a link to that. Scan the QR code as well. This is basically a community platform that we've set up at APRO that will allow this conversation to continue. You know, we see each other a lot at events, and we get together for webinars and things like this. This allows for that conversation to keep going, just on a every day in between. And so I'd encourage you to go check that out, sign up. Uh, uh, Content, materials, things of that will be kind of posted in that. And it's just a good way to connect with your other elite participants, people that are putting on these webinars, uh, and just connect with the rest of the industry through that. So check that out, and hope you'll find that useful and valuable.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Charles. I know there was nothing unlucky about this number 13 here. It was a great session. And, I definitely love the point about, just needing to learn every day and continue. You're never done being a leader. In fact, we just signed up our team for some Dale Carnegie courses on leadership, because we've got some growth to do there, and we recognize that as owners, that there's always room for growth. So if we're not growing, then what's the point? So thank you. This was definitely very informative. And guys, guys and gals, make sure you click on those links that Benji put up so nicely for us in the surveys there.
Well, great. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Hope we'll see you sometime soon, and we're back here for another LEAP session in next month.
Thank you, everybody.